Good morning, stampers and crafters. It's Tina with Tina's Crafty Ink Spot. Wow, it has been a while that I've been in my craft room, with everything going on. And we did a remodel, which I shared with you, of one of our bathrooms and some other stuff going on. Just haven't been able to get into the craft room. But I'm here today and I have a new technique for you. Okay, it's an old one, but it's new to me. And I call it double-sided vellum. And there's so many ways you can do this, but I'm going to share a simple way with you, and you go crazy with it. You can go crazy with it. So we're basically going to create these fun vellum backgrounds. Okay, we're going to do this one today, where you're basically stamping on both sides of the vellum. Well, you're embossing on one side and stamping on the other. And I wanted to show you a couple of tricks. Now, I don't know if you can see the difference here, but see how this one has more of that vellum look and softness? That I sandwiched the vellum and popped it off of the base, so you can kind of see through the vellum. Now this one, I laid the vellum directly down on the white. Now you need a white background in order for some of these to show. But it may not show on camera well, but sandwiching seems to really make a difference. So that's what I'm going to show you today. So for the stamp sets we're going to use this new Irresistible blooms. Now this is going to be one of the online specials. It's a new program that Stampin' Up's coming up with, where they're going to do these online only releases 2 or 3 times a year. And you'll only be able to buy the products online. They're not going to be on any catalogs, but they'll remain available. Okay, so it's not like Celebration where stuff ends. Okay, anyway, this is one of the sets, and it comes with the regular rubber stamps, but it also comes with these really cool dies. Okay, we're not going to be using these today, but we'll be using them more along the way. For the greeting, I'm going to go ahead and use the Love for You, and I'm going to use the For You die and the background for the For You. And let's just jump in. You ready? Okay, so I've got my card base, which is an A2 card base with a top fold. So it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 with a top fold. Okay. And then what I did is I took 2 pieces of white cardstock to create my frame. And I cut these 1/4 inch smaller. So these are 4 by 5 1/4. And then I took one of my rectangle stitch dies and I stacked them together and I cut them out at the same time. You can run them through your die cut and it'll cut through both pieces. Maybe run it through twice, just to make sure it goes through. That way my frame is exactly matched up. I have 2 pieces here. Okay, so that's going to create our sandwich to put the vellum in. Okay, you can use anything. Okay, you could use circles, you could use just portions of this background, maybe do windows down the side and some vellum background as an accent. It's a really versatile technique, and it's fun to do, and it's quick. And then I have a piece of vellum, and on this piece of vellum what I did is I cut it. See if I can get these apart. I cut it so it's just slightly smaller than the frame, just slightly, so that you see the gap there, so that it's not gonna, you could probably cut it the same size and then just kind of line it up sort of thing, but for me it was easier to just cut it just maybe 1/8 of an inch smaller. It's all right. All right, so we got our 2 frames, we got our vellum. We got our card base. Voila. Okay, what else do we need? Alright, so we're going to start on the front side. And on the front side, you want to do your white embossing. Now you can use background stamps. You can do, like I'm doing here, individual stamps and, you know, just randomly. So the possibilities are endless. But we're just going to do this single stamp way because a lot of people don't have a lot of background stamps that are kind of floral or leafy, or, you know, you could probably do any design you wanted for this. I think my camera's having a little trouble focusing on this white for some reason. So I'm going to take one of the flowers out of here. I think I'm going to take the small one. I'm going to grab a block. Now you do need your embossing buddy. You don't want white emboss where you don't want it. So let's wipe this down really well with our embossing buddy. Oh, I didn't even bring my Versamark over. Hold on a minute. And we've got our Versamark, and we are going to randomly stamp this flower. Now you could do flowers and leaves on the front. I thought it looked kind of cool just doing the flowers with the leaves on the back side as the background. You can use any colors on the back, okay? But remember, it's vellum, so the darker it is, the more it's going to show. So let's just randomly stamp this flower. And you can kind of see on the vellum, you'll see the Versamark on there to see where you're stamping. So I'm just randomly kind of stamping it, leaving some blank spaces so that when I do the back side, my backside images are going to show through. So, you know, kind of stamp off the side. It has been so long since I've been in the craft room. I sure miss it. And then when I got back in the craft room the other day, I had like a complete creative stall. It was like, oh my God, what do I make? And I've been wanting to do this technique for some time and do a video, so I thought, you know what, just do it. Alright, I think we have this. I'm going to put a tiny little piece right here. Okay, so we've got our flowers all stamped. Let me wipe that off. Now we're going to take our white embossing powder, and I guess I need a piece of paper. So I'm trying not to get my fingers too much in this. We're going to cover it in white embossing powder. Sometimes what I'll do is, since we're going to be heat embossing this, I'm just going to grab it with my tweezers. Get our white emboss on there. Now if you end up with somewhere you don't want it, just knock it off. It's not... You used your embossing buddy, so it should come out pretty good. Looks pretty good. I missed a spot there. Looks pretty good. Got a fur baby hair in there. Those of you with dogs or cats know that fur baby hair comes into the craft room from all angles. Okay, now let's heat set this. And when you're heating vellum, let your heat tool warm up a little. The fat, you know, you want it nice and hot, and you want to keep it moving. You don't want your vellum to warp too much. Stampin' Up's vellum is pretty good. It doesn't warp real easy. keep it moving, heat it up a little. You can even go from the back side if you want. Warm it up. See, it changes pretty quick when you heat up your gun. Changing pretty fast there. Oh, I love heat embossing. Transition seems so magical. There we go, look how fast that was. Make sure I got all my spots. And voila. Oop, I missed a spot right there. I can see, you can see it pretty easy. There we go. There we go. Let's pick that up, let it cool just a little. You don't want to flip it over when it's really hot. It'll smear when the embossing powder's hot. So I'm just going to cool that off a little bit. And there we go. Now, this is the side we embossed on. We're going to flip it over. We're going to grab our leaves. I'll probably use them both. Let's start with the big leaf first. I'm going to use my garden green. And now, oops, got it on my ink pad's freshly rejuvenated. I just added ink to it. So we're going to randomly stamp these leaves on the back. Now, when you stamp on vellum like this, that ink is going to stay wet a little bit longer than if you were just stamping on paper. So be careful not to grab it or smear it. I'm kind of also going in the, not only over the white, but in the blank spaces. Okay, I'm going to switch to the other smaller leaf and add some more in there. It's just such a cool effect. Oops, I really got that all over my... Start over. Just inked up this pad, so I kind of gotta not press as hard, because sometimes you get it on the edge, and if you push down hard, that little edge is going to leave a little ink mark. You don't really want that. I love that garden green on there. You can use any colors to do this. You could even do mixed colors if you wanted. I really like the rich raspberry. Of course, you know, that and blackberry bliss are two of my very favorite colors. Kind of stamping off in some spots just to get the edges. think we pretty well got it. Let me add just a couple more tiny ones on the edges here. Looks pretty good. Alrighty. Now, like I said, now that stays a little bit wet, so you can go make yourself a sandwich, come back, let it dry, or let's hit this one with the heat tool a little, and then we'll just be really careful with it, because like I said, it does take a little while. If you didn't want to wait for the drying period of our ink, use one of your colored StazOn on there, and StazOn or archival ink will dry really easy. So we're just going to lightly hit this with our heat tool, see if we can dry some of that ink a little. Keep your heat tool moving, you don't want to warp your vellum. Alrighty, so I'm just going to be really careful with it. So what I want to do is I'm going to take my frame, let me move this a little ways away over here, make sure all my ink here is dry. I want to get it on my frame. As a matter of fact, I'll just put a piece of paper over that just to be safe. Just to be safe. Now this is the stitched rectangle, so you want to make sure your top one, the stitching is the correct way. So we're going to take our bottom one, and you can either use your stamp and seal or your tear and tape. I think I'm going to use my tear and tape. And I'm going to put it, now this is the bottom frame, so I'm just going to put it along the frame here. I'm kind of going close to the inside because remember I did cut my vellum just ever so slightly smaller. Make sure it gets into the tape there. Okay. Damn it. Sometimes my tear and tape doesn't like me very well. Just getting it started. As you can see, this is a very quick card and technique. I might do some other designs if I can get it done before I do my blog post, and I'll add some more samples on the blog post of different ideas you can use. So now I want to take my vellum, and it's going to go with the embossing side up. And we're going to put it on our frame here. Let's see, I need to go farther up. See where if it's cut smaller, it's a little easier to line it up. There we go. And now we will add the other frame right on top. Okay, we're going to line it up and add it on there. Let's try our stamp and seal for that. Let me make sure I'm using the right side of my stitched. That should be it right there. So let's... Oh, it looks like my Stampin' Seal's going to behave today. I love Stampin' Seal. I absolutely do. But I think it hates me. I do. I think it hates me sometimes. It gets all wound up and tangled up. And I'm sure it's operator error. See, now I can't get it started. And I'm stuck to my frame. There we go. And now we're going to lay this one, line it up, and lay it directly over it. So I usually try to grab one corner, the other corner, and lay it down. Oh, there we have it. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Now see, if you lay it flat against the white, it's a whole different look. But if it's popped up just a little bit off that white, look at the difference. Can you see that on the camera? It's just a real subtle difference, but it's really cool. So what we're going to do is we'll take our card base and we're going to put dimensional strips on, and we're going to pop it up on our card base. So let me cut some dimensional strips here. I don't have my Stampin' Up! Adhesives or dimensional strips. They are lost in the mix somewhere. I haven't been in my craft room in so long, so we'll just use these. Alright, so let's put our dimensionals. We're putting it on the back side so that our vellum will be, our embossing will be on the top. Is that our dimensionals? This is a wide enough frame that you could probably just use your dimensional dots and work fine. You can do any type of frame nesting you want. Use any of your nesting dies to create a frame. Circles, triangles. Oh, the picture this. That would look cute. Some vellum in the background. Okay, now let's connect it to our card base. I always put glue on my dimensionals because then with the glue, even if they're sticky, you have some wiggle room to square it up. Oh, I think I got a green fingerprint there, but I might be able to remove that with an eraser. And looky there. Isn't that pretty? And now we're going to take the greeting, the For You, that is from the Love For You die set. And I just used garden green cardstock and the white background. And I need my dimensionals for these. Let's see. I think they might be a little big for just using them. I'm just going to trim the edge of my dimensional sheet here. You can put it wherever you want. I think I'm going to put it about potential on this one. Dimensionals don't go to waste in my house. I use every little piece of that sheet of dimensional. Put that on there. Hold a bit. Let's put that right there. A little piece of glue on there. And look at that. Voila. You have a beautiful background card. Now I just, you gotta have bling. So I grabbed my 2123 in color opal rounds. And I might just use some of these greens right here just to add a little bit of pop of color. And I'm going to put it in some of those random spots. Maybe one there. Let's grab a little one maybe. Put it here. Oops. Maybe. And there you go. Okay, I need one more small one. Let's put it over here. And there you go. There's a quick background technique that is super elegant. But see how you can tell the difference of one that's laid directly on the cardstock and one that is sandwiched and kind of lifted off of the cardstock. It just adds more of a soft kind of vellum look. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial and technique, and I am looking forward to being back in the craft room, get some techniques going. I've been doing a little bit of simple stamping, and I love it, but I need to get back into doing some techniques. So stay tuned, and I hope you have a very, very happy stamping day. Bye-bye now.